Hey guys, I know I haven't uploaded in quite a while, but I decided that I think it's finally time for me to do a bunch of videos. I have a bunch of video ideas coming up, so you should be expecting a video on how to fix the CRT support that will actually be on this computer, but in another video. In this video, we're going to be showing how to clean the inside of the plastic properly, and how to take it off without breaking anything, and doing it the proper way. Some other videos that will be in the making are how to repair your speakers, how to diagnose if your CRT is dying, and how to install, where to download, how to set up, and how to install, and how to get these multiplayer games for macOS 9 to work correctly. And I might even do a video on how to set up Airport correctly. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the first step to getting at the case is, if you've ever worked on iMac G3s at all, you probably know how to do this. There's a screw here, a screw there, and a screw there, and a screw there. You have to take off this VGA cover, but on this model it's a 350 megahertz, so it doesn't have VGA. It's just nothing. You just take a flathead screwdriver. It does not need to be very big at all. Just something, you probably wouldn't even need a flathead screwdriver. Just something with a flat tip. And then you'll be able to get at the area where the screws are located to get at the plastic case. Now, since this computer has a cracked CRT support, you do have to be a little bit more careful. I'm going to be collecting all of the pieces for the CRT support because I'm going to be reusing them when this computer gets its CRT support fixed. It is a structural support for basically the computer, the internals of the computer, and it also helps the way the computer looks. Normally I would not be trying to repair one that is this far gone, but I believe that this will help many people, so I'm going to. So, for example, here's a piece of it. I'm just going to set that off to the side. This plastic just gets very brittle over time. I've really, honestly, never had a problem. I've never broken a CRT support ever. I believe they just break from heat and such. So something that I just noticed on this computer, which is a little interesting, these speakers are extremely blown up. I was unaware that they were this bad. So I'm going to push them back in, just like that, and I'll, if you want to fix these in a very sketchy way, do a dab of hot glue there, dab of hot glue there, dab of hot glue there, dab of hot glue there. That'll hold it in, but also allow it to have some movement, so it should, in theory, work. So, now what you're going to want to do is take off these two plastic covers. You can do that by just taking a flathead screwdriver that is very small and kind of getting it in between and prying it out. Now, these are also very, very breakable, so you're going to want to do it very carefully. Like this one, for example, I didn't even break that. That was just already broken a bit. That's just, like, this computer's very old. You can't really expect anything more. Plus, if you don't really plan on taking these computers apart ever again, then you can always just glue it back in if you keep all the pieces. So you're going to want to take off these on both sides. And sorry if, yeah, see, that just broke right there. Now, this computer I got for next to nothing. It's just kind of a machine that I've been doing some tests on. I had it actually at my school for a while. If you follow my Instagram, then you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it just split right in half. So this is not something that I'd be really majorly concerned about, because you really can't see it that well. Again, you can glue it back if you do care that much. Me, personally, on this machine, I probably wouldn't. Even if you just got, like, I don't even know, a piece of paper or something. I believe that these were already also influenced. This whole computer's CRT support was weakened immediately from the sun. This computer had been sitting in the sun for its whole life. It was extremely yellowed. It still is. If you look, I actually have another indigo right there. If you look at the color of the CRT support, it's very white. And if you look at the color of this one, it's more of a yellow. So if you see that, know that that's sun damage or smoke damage, but in this case, it is 100% sun damage. Now, the reason that you're going to want to clean the inside of your iMac G3 is, you know, I didn't think that there was a point in doing it, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't for quite a while, and I never did. I would always just clean the outside, and then I was kind of looking at these Apple ads and just videos of the, what was that? Oh, and just videos of these computers from the early 90s, or from the early 2000s, and I was really confused because they looked extremely clear. And I have one of these that has next to no scratches, and I was very confused on why it did not look as bright. So I took it apart and cleaned the inside. It was covered in dust. It didn't even look like it. Like, man, that thing was covered in dust. So now what you're going to want to do is undo that screw there, that screw there, that screw there, and that screw there, that screw there. So pretty simple. Just going to want to unscrew that. And if you're wondering why I have this set on this carpet almost, is because you can easily scratch the plastic on these computers, and in theory this could scratch it as well, but it's very unlikely that that would happen. So always when you're working on any computer, set it on something soft, unless you're working on motherboards or something like that, because in that case you could create a static charge and actually fry the motherboard, which is not something that you would want to do. So don't do that. So now what you're going to want to do is unscrew this screw. Just make sure that you get all 5 from all the way around, and then it's actually pretty simple once you get that done. Now, something that you want to be careful of when unscrewing this is, it's very hard to see. There's a little plastic circular thing in there, and that can drop down into the computer if you don't make sure it doesn't fall. So I'll try to grab it actually and show. It's just a spacer. In theory, you don't need it, I don't think, but it's not something that I would recommend just like letting it fall down. Now we are taking apart the computer, so if it does fall down, you can just grab it, unless it falls down into the CRT area. I would not recommend trying to get at that, because you might end up killing yourself, literally, if you've had this computer on within the past week. So it's actually extremely easy to clean the inside of iMac G3. Most people don't know that, just because of the fact that there are no videos online. I spent a lot of time trying to find a video on how to do this, and I could not find one. I found one video of a person taking apart one of these completely, and that's what I used. There was no audio, no instructions. It was just a side view. They didn't show what screws to undo, anything like that. So I kind of just looked at it and went like, okay, well that looks kind of like they're undoing this screw there and that one. So I just kind of went with it, and it actually worked out in the long run very well. I was I was able to make a video. I actually made a video on that if you want to look at it. If you need to, for any reason, let's say replace your CRT boards, you can do that. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is I might need a larger flathead screwdriver. But this plastic we've unscrewed. All you have to do now is pop it out. There are clips. Yeah, so there you go. So there's a clip I can show you. There's a clip there. And there's going to be another clip right there. And another clip there, and then a few up top, and the same on the other side. So just get those. It should be all good. Now the thing is, if you have a CRT support that is extremely yellow, or like this one's already cracking, you're going to want to be very careful not to break any of this stuff, because if you do, that can really annoy you in the long run. So now, when you get these done, you don't try to do the top, because that'll just break the stuff on the other side. And if you're wondering why I did this side, it's so that it's already mostly loose, so that it'll be easier to get this side out with the cracked CRT support. This cracked CRT support is in very poor condition. I don't think you'll find one much worse than this unless this whole top is just gone. So, yeah, so always start at the bottom, and you're going to want to work your way back up. And do it slowly. There's no reason to be fast. All that can come from that is it breaking. Now this was already broken, so I'm not really concerned at all with this. I already knew about this. Basically, this piece is just a big piece of plastic. So this looks pretty terrible, as you can see. But I'm going to be showing you how to fix this. So I'm actually just going to grab these pieces from what I can grab right here. Like if you look, this piece will go right back there, so we can fix that. Like there's no real inconvenience. As long as you have larger pieces and not that many small pieces, you'll be able to fix this no matter what. So there are some pieces, there are some areas that I'm going to just fill with hot glue, and I'll address that most likely in this video, actually, just so that you can see what to do. So now this is very, very, very brittle. You want to be as careful as you can. You can even see that, like, did you see that? Probably not, actually, because I just, well, whatever. This piece goes right there. And it actually looks as though this whole CRT support, almost all the way down to the bottom, is broken. And that's not really a big problem. If it has cracks in it, they're not very noticeable, but we'll still fill those in with some glue, and we'll put all the large pieces back and assemble it as best as we can to make it look good. Okay, so now, with this nice and broken looking, we can, I'm actually just going to collect these large pieces that are on the ground. This one, I believe, goes here. Yeah, you can see that one goes there. So I'll set that up here. So now you're going to want to remove, sorry, there's more, like, little bits like this, don't keep those. We can fill that stuff in with hot glue. It'll make it more supportive than just putting these random little pieces of crap back in. So you pry it up. There we go. I find that these top ones are like way looser than the bottom ones. So it's really funny, actually. I got that out directly after I said that. It went flying way up in the air, and it was pretty funny, actually. So now what you want to do is undo those two screws. Now the thing is, with undoing these, is you got to put some pressure. But if you put too much pressure, you're just going to break the whole CRT support, which is not ideal. So kind of push on it and just take your time. It should come out right easy like that. Do the same thing on this one. This one's pretty broken though, so I'm going to take my time. There we go. Easy peasy. So now, I'm just going to grab this screw, put it with all the other ones. Make sure you organize these screws. I have my own really sketchy way of organizing it, and it works-ish. I have so many spare screws, it doesn't even matter. So I can't figure. Anyways, so now to remove this plastic piece, I'm going to set this up here. Basically, you put pressure on it and push down. Very simple concept. Not so great when you try to take it off, just because of the fact that if you push too hard when you got a broken CRT support, it's going to break more, most likely. In this case, it surprisingly didn't, but in most cases it would. And there we go. Took longer than expected, but not too bad. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go on to cleaning up. Well, you can use your own method to clean up your inside case. I recommend just some Windex with some paper towels if you really want to make sure that you don't scratch it because yours is in very good shape. Use microfiber towels, those work fantastically. Yeah, so I'm gonna go grab the materials that we'll need, which is, you can go grab it too, hot glue gun, and I'm gonna go grab Windex and paper towel. And yeah. So, now that we've got that done, we can move on to fixing the CRT support. So first, we're gonna work on fixing the one right here. So I'm looking to see which way this goes, which is that way. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do now is, because the hot glue is hot, and I'm going to unplug it, because we don't need it to be super hot. We need it to be just melty. Enough that it'll stick to stuff, but not too much. We don't want it to be too hot. So what we're going to do is, where you can't see the CRT, we're going to add a line of glue. And right around the edge here, we're going to add a line of glue. Don't worry if you're messy, because we're going to be fixing this after. And we're going to grab this piece, and we're going to get put it on like this. Perfect. And now, before that gets too hard, we will remove the residue and fill in these cracks with a flat screwdriver. So, yeah, we're gonna need to get that better than that. So, we just kind of add a little bit like this, make sure it's good and warm. Looks pretty good. Then we run it down in the cracks, just like so. And yeah, so that looks good. Perfect. So now you just let that dry. Now, while we wait for that to dry, we can move on to fixing more. So, I'm not sure if you saw at the start of the video, but up in here was very loose. I can show you again. That's not really supposed to be like that at all. So I want to hot glue all up in here to attach it, but it's not going to stick if it's all dusty. So clean up in there, and you should be good. Clean all where you're going to be sticking some hot glue here, up in here. I'm going to do a bunch in there. Perfect. So now we're just going to basically dump a whole bunch of hot glue all there. Perfect. And there's another good area right in there, which we can do. Nice, perfect. And we can clean up all this stuff off the CRT. Don't worry about hot glue. If we were working with something more that will like some kind of epoxy, which you can use. Epoxy will hold it very well, but I find hot glue, more people have hot glue, and this is my method, which I think works well. I don't really care what you think, to be completely honest, unless you have a better method. If you have another method, let me know. I'd love to know. I just personally like my method. Okay, so now we're gonna add some more hot glue down in there. Hold this sideways. So if you look, there's also many hairline cracks all down here. So we're gonna grab my screwdriver, which I've set down somewhere here, and we're gonna do this again. Let's like that. Put this down, not on the cord, and kind of fill it all in really good. Perfect. So now all of those little cracks are filled. Now, while we wait for that again, we can add a little bit more up here, get some more in there. Perfect. Now there's another little spot up here that we can do. I'm going to add a line of hot glue up there. Another one in there. Perfect. Great. So now, while that dries, we can grab this big chunk which fell off. Or actually, this might have been the one that I pulled off so that we could repair it properly. And it is. Perfect. Okay. So, looks like we're going to need to do a bit more work before we get to that. So we're going to plug the hot glue back in. Make sure that my camera's all lined up. And we're going to add a nice bead all along there. Put that there. That's actually not hot at all. Never mind. So, now, while this is still nice and hot, do a nice cleanup, and we're going to use some of this to fill in that crack, I mean. I'm going to hold that to get some more. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got that done. And we're going to do the next large piece up here. So, what we want to do is, first of all, actually no, we'll do that okay, yeah, so, we're going to want to grab this piece, make sure it fits correctly. Now this piece, pretty large piece, we're going to want to make sure we do this right. So, we can add glue to the base there, here, all along the crack, more there, and then we're going to fill in the cracks afterwards. So, that should be good. So let's do up and around on the plastic because the glass will cool faster than if line right there. And there we go. And I'm actually going to do that. Perfect. Okay, so I finished fixing the CRT support after watching just some random videos and scrolling through Reddit and stuff. So I don't have the pieces to fix this. They must have been, I don't know, they're just not here. So I don't know. Overall, it looks really good, and the computer is way more structural. Like, it was terrible before. This crap's not going anywhere now. So, and I've shaved off the rest. So if I go like this, you can still see, obviously, these cracks were way worse before. I'll put up a comparison, actually. I'll go like this. Okay, perfect, and you can see the two. Yeah, you can see no cracks over here. You can see, I don't think there's actually anything else. You can see where it starts, but it's all filled in. You don't need to worry about this crap falling down into the computer. It's not going to, and it looks, you can barely see a crack there. So, yeah, so here's the computer all assembled. You can see I actually went back and did some more work. There's no, it's okay. So here's the computer all assembled. So here's the yellowed compared to the white, and here is a smoke yellow. This is a smoke. This is a smoke yellow. This is a sun yellow, and this is just being in dark room, no sun, no smoke. Looks great. A very good condition. It's a 350 megahertz with a 400 megahertz board. Yeah. This is actually I have a box for this iMac. Yeah, and my tangerine, and then my awesome RGB. Anyway, so yeah, I hope this video is helpful to you. I actually might be able to show a comparison between the inside of this one, kind of dusty, you can see that. If I spin this sideways, that's pretty good. So yeah, I hope this video helps you, and yeah, so I'll be putting some more videos up soon. So yeah, catch me in a bit.